and welcome to day 11 of our watercolor tip a day series for World Watercolor Month. Today is all about lifting, a great way to fix mistakes or create highlights in watercolor. So let me show you how to do it. Alright, we're just going to start with painting a cherry shape. I feel like this is the best way for me to show you how to do lifting on a subject. So we're going to go with a red cherry. I'm just going to mix up some cadmium red here. I'm just going to paint a cherry shape right on the page here. And it's not going to be perfect. We're just going to paint that out. And I'm going to fill that in just with a flat wash. And now to create a shine on the cherry without blocking it off, we're going to do the lifting technique. So what you want to do is you want to clean your brush, blot it, and then you're just going to take that brush, and you can add more water if you want, but you want it to be damp, or I'm using it more damp, and I'm just going to lift. And you see how that created that shine? We're just going to do that again. So I'm just going to create a nice cherry shape. I guess this is a cherry shape, right? And then say that you didn't want to clean out the brush fully, you just blot it. I'm going to put one on this side, even though the light is probably not on that side, but just to show you, we're creating a very light lift here. And the more you lift, obviously the more paper is going to show through. And I'm going to just take this brush, really dry it out, and lift. Now this only works fully when the paint is still wet. I'm going to paint one over here, and then we'll let that one dry, and I will show you how to lift that once it's dry. And it's not always going to be easy, especially not if it's a staining paint, but you can still do it. So I'm just going to paint this, and we'll let this dry. And then I'll just add in my little stems while that dries. Let's make this dry. Alright, so now this is dry. So if you have a dry subject, you can still lift that. You just have to reactivate the paint. So I've wet my brush, it's fully wet, and I'm just going to go over a spot where I want that paint. And you're going to slowly keep on lifting until you have the highlight. And then if it's not working with the brush, you can always use a paper towel and sort of press that in to lift. A magic eraser also works really well, pro tip. But yeah, you could just sort of scrub it a bit, and then you'll get that little bit of lifting highlight. And then we're just going to soften those edges where we created that lift. But yeah, that is how you create lifting in a subject. We can also do this with clouds, so I'm going to show you that as well. You can carve it out to create that highlight, but this is if you want to create lifting. So I'm just going to slowly lift that up and create a subtle gradient, and you can see the shine there again. So I'm going to put just a little stem here just to finish that off. And now I want to show you how we could do that with clouds. So let's do a nice easy blue sky here. Nothing crazy. Just do a nice light wash. And I really want to be able to see those clouds, so I'm going to do a little deeper. And this is another lifting technique. So you can either use a brush or you can use your paper towel. And you just blot it on like that. And create those really pretty cloud shapes. And let me just take a clean brush. If you want to use a brush and you don't want to use a paper towel, just want to get some more here so you can really see. You can also lift with a clean brush. A little bit more difficult, but you're going to get a softer lift this way. But yeah, lifting is super fun, super important when it comes to watercolor. And then you can combine the techniques as well. So if you want sort of a real big lift and then a softer edge, you can combine the techniques. Another place I like to use lifting is in the leaves of my flowers or my plants. So you could just lift the middle vein up and the little tiny veins on the side, and you can lift for some shine. But if you make a mistake, you could just use some clean water and sort of scrub it, or you can just lift it up like we've been doing if you're at the point where you can still lift it. And then you can blot it with a paper towel. This is how you're gonna fix mistakes. You can apply that same shine technique to leaves as well. So if it's already dried, you can reactivate it and scrub it a bit and lift it until you're happy. If you want a real lift, you can just blot that as well with a paper towel and sort of soften those edges and put those shadows back in. And you can see here how we had lifted to create that highlight in the center, and then we're going back in and adding in our shadows around that highlight. It's such a simple skill, but it's so powerful once you get the hang of it. So quick recap, always use a clean brush and just water, no soap or extras. Gently blot, don't scrub too hard or you might damage your paper. Try it on scrap paper first to get the feel of it, and remember, not all paints lift the same. Staining paints are a bit more stubborn, so have a little patience. That's it for today. Tomorrow we're going into resist techniques, saving whites in your paper using masking fluid. It's going to be so informative, so make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you again tomorrow.